How about a fun video? Do you guys like fun? I don't care, you're gonna have it anyway. This is our HP Z8 workstation. We've got to send it back soon. I'm kind of sad about that because it's been actually quite helpful when it comes to speeding up some certain processes. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that we've been doing all of our game development on this. We've got a game developer in Seattle. He hasn't been able to come down much, but we were able to play around a little bit with this. And, you know, I've been playing around in the engine. I'm trying to learn Unreal Engine myself so that I can help the game build some environments and that sort of thing. But also I need to be able to understand what's going on in the engine. So when I talk to the guys who are working on the game, I'll be able to communicate with them effectively. So this has been a great tool for that because it's just, you get in the game, you fly around, you do stuff, there's no slowdown whatsoever. Now, where it's really going to help and where, you know, someone might want to have a super powerful dual Xeon system like this is when it comes to doing builds, especially if you guys are doing daily builds or if you're trying to bake in lighting, you know, doing some baking for like bokeh background blur, or what is it called, depth of field. If you guys want to bake that stuff in and you're using your regular system, it can take overnight. For instance, like using my standard 6-core Intel, it's like you set it up to either compile or bake in lighting or something like that, and you're like, okay, I will be back tomorrow, and you just leave it going overnight. But with this machine, it's more like, hey, let's have a coffee or grab some lunch, and when we get back, hey, it's ready. So you're actually saving a ton of time. So we're going to talk a little bit about our game. It's another video about the Z8 workstation, but it's kind of an excuse to show you guys what we're doing with our game. And then there's one more question that I'm sure I need to answer before this thing goes back to Z workstations, and that is, can this play Crysis? Let's go through the specs on the Z8 workstation. One thing I really like about these guys, they take the HP Z workstations and they get a discount from HP. So even if you're just getting like a regular workstation without much configuration, you're gonna save money by going to zworkstations.com. Compared to the other workstation companies out there, their configuration station, let's call it that, is really easy to use and it has more options. So this is the one we have right here. We've got a dual Xeon Gold 6144, and that's because we wanted, it's fewer cores, but we really wanted that turbo speed up to 4.2, so it's zippy while we're just, you know, playing around in the environment. You know, the Xeon Platinum would have been faster when it comes to compiling and stuff, but the Xeon Gold's sort of a happy medium. And you guys would murder me in the comments if I didn't also mention Threadripper. Now, Threadripper, you guys can get very similar performance for a fraction of the cost when it comes to the CPU. So the people who are going to be getting Xeons, I mean, Xeons still are the most tried and tested, and, you know, they've got really, really insane reliability ratings. So if you want something that you know is just going to work all the freaking time, then this is the way to go. But do look at Threadripper as well. Those things are going to be awesome for people who are on a little bit lower budget. So, you know, when you come over here, you'll be able to configure with whatever you like. The main thing for us also with this one, since this one's not going to be the primary dev rig, it's going to be like for compiling and everything like that, you're going to want some ECC memory. And that's what we get here with this in the Xeon. All right, so we have 128 gigabytes of 2600 megahertz ECC registered memory in there. We also got the 512 gigabyte NVMe storage. Nothing else in there because we're just going to be sending this one back pretty soon after we test it out and everything. So we also have two NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti's in here, and those are nice for the game, especially if you want to try this out with multiple monitors, high resolution. And while you're playing the game, it's not generally optimized. So in order to speed it up while you're flying around in the game, it's nice to have the 1080 Ti in there. Anyway, let's talk about our game for just a little bit. So we were originally making a game called Zweihander, sort of an RPG action game, but it was pretty big. And it was, you know, reasonable to think of doing that a couple of years ago. But right now, resources are not the same as what they were a couple of years ago. So we've scaled it back and kind of done something that's going to make the Zweihander game a lot more interesting. We've created multiplayer.
You see my head backwards?
Your head is back.
My head is backwards, but my hair is forward.
Hey, you know what? We're playing a game right now through the internet.
Watch this reverse neck break.
Oh God, look at that. And we're working on the combat system and the locomotion, just like moving around in the levels and the worlds and stuff. Right now we've got a really rough build where we can run around and bump into each other and break the game. But the main thing that we've focused on so far in the last month or so, that's a month and maybe 2 months, is we've focused on getting the internet play to work. And it works. You guys can jump in, chat, and we can join games, you know, with our friends on Steam and stuff like that, and it all works. It's freaking cool. and there's hardly any lag. We can run around and hit each other and stuff. Now that's the next thing. The animations, the hits, all that kind of stuff is going to have to be really worked on. But like I said, right now we've only been focusing on the internet and stuff like that. And we just got a little blocked out world we can play around in. But if you're someone who is into combat animation, or if you're someone who is into environment design in Unreal Engine, hit us up over at Midnight Dojo. We have a forum over there, Midnight Dojo. It's forum.midnightdojo.com. Hit us up over there. We're going to be looking for some people to contract. So if your stuff's good, then let us know. We're working with Christian right now, and he is really good at making things happen in the engine. But he's more of a generalist, and we're going to need some specialists pretty soon to make that all happen. But the idea is we take this game, we build out several different levels, and we really hone that combat, and we get the multiplayer working. So once we get that combat that feels good, we can put that in the bigger game, the role-playing game. And then, since we've already worked on all the multiplayer stuff, we can have systems that work with multiplayer in the RPG. It'll be a little bit more work to make sure all the menus and questing and all that sort of stuff works, but we'll be able to use multiplayer in the main game, which is a huge bonus. So I kind of like the idea of working on this one first. It'd be really funny if we end up making this game, and it's a ton of fun, because it's going to be like an arena combat game a la Soldat, or, imagine 2D Rune. But we're also doing some like Nidhogg flavor in there too. So imagine all those things together, and what if this game ends up being an absurd amount of fun and doing better than the expensive RPG? That would be funny. Anyway, it's been nice to work on this thing because it's so freaking fast. For a company just starting out, if your entire budget is going to go to this, it may not be the best idea. But if you're someone who has funding and you really need that serious level of reliability, I wholeheartedly do recommend the Z Workstation's machine like this, or something similar. You go over and check them out. But reliability is very important and worth the price to some people. But for a lot of hobbyists, all you're going to be able to do is get a $1,000 machine and just start working. If you've got a dream, just go for it. Build whatever you can. So that's a little bit about our game, and our experiences using this. The bottom line for me is I'm really sad that we have to send this thing back. That's the bottom line for me. It's like, well, all right, it's going to go back to waiting a very long time whenever we compile or bake. It's going to be like, well, it's in the oven. Let's wait for those lights. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And just let it run all night. That's what it's going to go back to. Can we keep this thing? It's $15,000. All right, speaking of $15,000, can it play Crysis? Let's play some Crysis, shall we? Yeah, Crysis can run, and I'm not going to benchmark it because this is a joke. Of course, a dual Xeon $15,000 rig with two 1080 Ti's can run Crysis. Of course it can. But it does look beautiful, and I've got a very nice texture pack that just came out this year that stays true to the original, but it gives you some beautiful 4K textures. Water looks really nice. This game still looks better than most games that are out today. Looks way better than PUBG, and insanely better than like Fortnite or something. The two big games right now. It's funny, this like 10-year-old game still looks better than a lot of modern stuff. We've had our fun with the Z8 workstation. It's time to bid it adieu. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the on the forum, preferably, and we can jump in there and answer. Z Workstations also has an account on the forum, so that's the best place to ask your questions. They can hop in there and answer. And also check out epicpants.com for all your needs of not being naked. We can cover you up with clothes. So I'll see you guys on the website. Drinking coffee, wearing a jacket, 200-degree weather. So we've got 120 gigabytes of trains. So we have 128 gigabytes. So we have 128 gigabytes. God damn it.